Once upon a time, in a kingdom painted with golden fields, sapphire rivers, and mountains that touched the clouds, there lived a princess named Seraphina. She was known throughout the realm not only for her beauty but for her kindness, intelligence, and the compassion that shone in her heart. Her palace stood tall on a hill, gleaming with white marble and adorned with sparkling gems, catching the sun's rays like a crown upon the earth. Yet, despite the grandeur surrounding her, Seraphina often found herself gazing at the horizon, yearning for something deeper than the pleasures of royal life. One misty morning, as the dew clung to the emerald leaves and birds sang their first songs, Seraphina decided to wander beyond the palace gates. She rode her white horse, Lumina, whose mane shimmered like starlight, into the nearby forest. The forest was a place of magic and mystery, whispered tales of hidden creatures, and ancient trees whose roots were said to cradle the secrets of the world. Princess Seraphina often wandered here alone, finding solace among the murmuring streams and the rustling leaves that spoke as though they were alive. As she ventured deeper into the forest, she heard something that made her heart constrict with unease, a faint, almost imperceptible sound, like a sob trapped in the shadows. Following it, she came upon a little clearing where a girl sat, her small frame trembling, and her eyes swollen from weeping. But something was terribly unusual, no sound came from her lips. She cried, yet the forest held no echo of her sorrow. Seraphina approached slowly, her heart heavy with compassion. "Are you all right, child?" she asked softly, kneeling beside her. The girl flinched but didn't speak. She only pointed to her throat and shook her head, revealing a secret no one could have imagined. The girl had no voice. I can't speak," she finally gestured, tears streaming down her face like silver rivers. Her name, as Seraphina learned through patient gestures and written words on a scrap of parchment, was Liora. She was no ordinary child, she had been born in silence, a gift, or curse, from forces unknown, leaving her trapped in a world where expressing pain, hope, or even joy through voice was impossible. Princess Seraphina's heart ached as she held Liora's small hands. "You don't have to speak for me to understand your pain," she whispered. "I promise, I will listen in every way I can." From that day onward, Seraphina made it her mission to care for Liora. She built a quiet sanctuary in the palace gardens, filled with flowers that smelled like memories, fountains that sang lullabies, and a small library of picture books and stories written in colors that spoke more than words ever could. Yet, as much as the princess tried to comfort her, Liora's sorrow ran deep. Night after night, the girl's silent cries haunted the palace halls, filling them with a ghostly despair that even the royal guards could sense. Seraphina, though troubled, refused to leave her side. She learned the language of silence, how the quivering of lips could convey fear, how a clenching fist could express anger, and how a gaze could reveal longing. Slowly, the princess became attuned to the subtleties of Liora's emotions, and in return, the girl began to trust her, allowing herself the rare gift of feeling seen. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills and the sky blazed in crimson and gold, Seraphina decided to tell Liora a story. She spoke of distant lands, brave heroes, and mystical creatures that lived beyond the clouds. Though Liora could not reply in words, her eyes sparkled, and her small hands clutched at Seraphina's gown in delight. The princess realized something profound: even in silence, hearts could communicate truths far greater than any voice could utter. But the kingdom was not all seer. Serenity. Whispers had reached Seraphina's ears of an ancient curse that lingered over the royal bloodline. Generations ago, it was said that a cruel sorceress, scorned by love and power, had vowed that a princess of the realm would one day suffer a tragedy so deep that even her voice would not suffice to comfort her people. Though Seraphina had grown up shielded from such fears, the sorrow she witnessed in Liora's eyes felt like a shadow of that ancient tale. Could this silent child be tied to the curse? And if so, how could Seraphina protect her? The answer came one night in a dream. Seraphina found herself in a realm of silver light, floating above a lake that mirrored the stars. There, a figure appeared, a woman with eyes like molten gold and a smile both gentle and commanding. "Princess Seraphina," the figure said, "you have been chosen to heal what cannot be spoken." The child you found, Liora, carries a silence that mirrors your own heart's unspoken grief. Together, you must break the bond that binds her pain to the world." Awakening with a start, Seraphina felt both fear and determination. She realized that healing Liora would not be simple. It would require courage, patience, and perhaps a confrontation with the very essence of suffering itself. She spent the following days preparing, collecting rare herbs known for their soothing properties, enchanted crystals that reflected truth, and scrolls of forgotten wisdom that described the art of empathy beyond speech. Their journey began quietly. Seraphina led Liora through secret paths in the forest, where sunlight filtered through leaves in golden beams and the air smelled of earth and wildflowers. Along the way, they encountered creatures who could sense pain in silence. A white fox whose eyes mirrored sorrow, a nightingale that sang tunes of lost voices, and an ancient oak that whispered secrets of resilience. Each encounter taught Liora to express herself through gestures, through art, through the music of her own heart. Slowly, her silent tears began to mingle with smiles and laughter, though her voice remained absent. Then came the night of the great storm. A tempest had descended upon the kingdom, and lightning split the sky as rain battered the castle walls. In the palace, Seraphina's father, King Aldrich, and the council feared for the safety of all. But in the forest, Seraphina and Liora faced their greatest trial. At the center of a glimmering glade stood a crystal mirror, surrounded by thorned vines that seemed to pulse with a malevolent will. This was the heart of the curse, a reflection of every unspoken pain, amplified until it became almost tangible. The mirror shimmered, revealing not Liora's face but all the moments of her silent suffering, the bullying of other children, the isolation she endured, and the nights spent crying alone. It whispered cruel words, echoing the fears that had lived in Liora's heart for years. Seraphina knew that confronting this force required more than bravery, it demanded love. She took Liora's hands in hers and whispered, "I see you. I hear you. Even if the world cannot, I can." Liora, feeling the warmth of Seraphina's unwavering presence, lifted her gaze. For the first time, the mirror faltered, unable to withstand the combined force of recognition, empathy, and love. The thorns shrieked and dissolved, the glass cracked, and a soft light enveloped them. The storm outside mirrored their victory, calming instantly, leaving only a quiet, peaceful night. From that night onward, Liora's life changed. Though her voice did not return, she found countless ways to express herself. She painted, danced, and composed melodies on a small harp gifted by Seraphina. The kingdom marveled at her courage and creativity, learning that true communication often transcends words. And Princess Seraphina, who had walked this path alongside her, grew stronger, her heart enriched by the silent truths she had come to understand. The bond between the princess and the little girl became legendary. People whispered of the princess who could hear without ears and the child who could speak without a voice. Together, they taught the kingdom that empathy, patience, and unwavering love could heal even the deepest sorrows. And in that knowledge, both Seraphina and Liora discovered a truth more profound than any crown or jewel: sometimes, the greatest voices are those that do not need to be spoken at all. Years later, when Seraphina ascended to the throne, Liora remained by her side, not as a silent burden, but as a symbol of resilience, artistry, and the quiet power of the human heart. Together, they transformed the kingdom into a place where no sorrow went unnoticed, where every tear was valued, and where the language of the heart reigned supreme. And thus, the tale of the princess and the little girl who cried without a voice became a story told across generations, reminding all that true understanding needs no words, only compassion. And so, in a kingdom bathed in sunlight, adorned with laughter, music, and quiet understanding, Princess Seraphina and Liora lived on, proof that the deepest pain can be met with the gentlest love, and the quietest heart can change the world.